Welcome to a video about Japan, the ancient origins of Japan, and the strange mysteries within the timeline of Japan. Now, when most of us think about the architecture in the region, this is what we think of. Very beautiful style. Very unique with its flared roof. But if I were to tell you that this was Japan in the 1850s, it would seem out of place. And we can see people in what seems to be traditional Japanese robe, and some more here, and rickshaws, and really the people don't seem to match the architecture. And this architecture is what we see all over the world in this time period. At a first glance, nobody would believe that this was Japan initially. And very similar with this bridge and the light posts on the bridge don't seem to match the style that's in the background of the larger Japanese home. And yet the bridge in this picture doesn't seem to match the walls on either sides of the bridge. It seems as if there are two different styles or builders in this particular picture. And now here, again in Japan, we see railways and power lines, and we see old Greek-Roman style buildings. Again, what we saw all over the world. Now they tell us that the Japanese began building in this fashion. And to me, this is a far jump to the next style. Let's look at the really old style, what they tell us historically. And these would have been the Ainu people. And now we begin to get the more modern Japanese look, which is very beautiful, very simple and open. And this was supposed to evolve into this. And now this is the narrative that we're given. But if we look carefully at the base of many of these structures, what we can see is something that's much older and something that is similar to building styles found all over the world. Very old polygonal stonework, where these builders were not concerned with uniform building blocks. They were such masters. The sharp edges or corners, absolutely amazing. And this is not typically what we think of when we think of Japan. This is something that we might think of in Peru, but yet this style is found all over the world. I was really amazed when I first saw these. I'd never seen such things in Japan, in all the pictures. This really blew me away. Absolutely impressive stonework. From what I'm going to call the second people. The second people were great builders. They were not rock cutters, necessarily. They were rock builders, but they were great rock builders. And yet, whatever was on top of these structures is gone. Really, all we're seeing is the foundation. The very base of the structure. And now they've built their modern style on top of these perfect and ancient foundations. But who really knows what was originally on top? Were they giant towers? They sure seem to be able to support much larger structures than what we see on top. Beautiful stonework from the second people. Now let's have a look at the first people, what I'm calling the first people. Now this is underwater off the coast of Yonaguni Island, and this is in Japan, about 67 miles from the east coast of Taiwan. And these ruins are absolutely amazing. Now these are rock cutters. So on the top we were just looking at amazing stone workers, polygonal stone workers. And now we're looking at the rock cutters, not far, just right below the ocean waters. Now, was there a time where the ocean waters were lower? And this was actually on the surface. It seems so. Now some people actually believe that these are just natural. But they sure seem to have been carved with the same precision that we see with all the rock cut architecture all over the world. It sure seems like strange architecture. Perhaps it could be some machinery. And now we look at a piece that actually was above the waters, which leads me to believe that all of it at one point may have been. And this looks more like this could have been an amazing house with its doorway. Now let's have a little recap or rewind. So this is the first people, the rock cutters, mostly in the Sea of Japan. And next we move to the masons, the amazing masons that must have been giant people to make such giant blocks. We would never conceive of making such large blocks with our small human size. And next, third phase or wave of Japan is this. Both colonial and Greco-Roman styles. Very modern. Very, very modern. And finally, and lastly, the cheap yet beautiful wooden structure that will not live a fraction as long as its older counterparts. And now let's have a look at the old inhabitants. These are the Ainu people, the original inhabitants, according to our history, of Japan. And many of them seem very Caucasian. And their clothing seems to indicate things that we see from different tribes all over the world, as if these are the remnants of an older people. And the women would tattoo mustaches, and this is also found in different parts of the world. Now here we have a samurai, and I had a very difficult time researching this samurai due to the movie The Last Samurai. And this Caucasian man is a samurai, a revered samurai, and has a shrine in Japan dedicated to his deeds. And here again we see a samurai with a flair of colonial, which I just find fascinating. Again, there was obviously this period that went on in Japan, and he clearly is representing this. So that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Have a blessed day.